The text message came through at 11:43 p.m. on a Thursday. We need $50,000. Your father's having emergency surgery. Family helps family. I stared at my phone in my empty apartment, the one I'd furnished with IKEA clearance items and secondhand finds. The one my parents had never visited. Not once in 7 years. The worst part wasn't the audacity of asking for $50,000. It was the 3 words at the end. Family helps family. The same 3 words they'd used my entire life. Always when they needed something from me. Never when I needed them. Let me take you back to where this started. I was 8 years old, sitting at the kitchen table with my report card. 4 A's and 1 A- in PE. My mother glanced at it for exactly 3 seconds. "That's nice, honey." Then she turned back to the refrigerator where my sister's art project was displayed. A crayon drawing of our family where I was noticeably smaller than everyone else. My sister was 6. Her name was on everything. The bedroom door we shared, the good winter coat, the new backpack each September. Mine were always hand-me-downs from cousins, even though I was the older one. When I was 12, I won the regional science fair. 2nd place state level. My experiment on plant growth patterns beat 200 other entries. I came home with a trophy and a certificate, my hands shaking with excitement. My father was on the couch. "Congratulations. Can you keep it down? Your sister's practicing her dance routine upstairs." My sister, who'd quit 3 dance classes in 2 years because they were too hard. The science fair prize included a $500 scholarship. My mother deposited it into a family account. When I asked about it 6 months later, thinking maybe I could use it for the robotics camp I desperately wanted to attend, she looked at me like I'd asked to burn down the house. "That money went toward your sister's competition fees, the dance nationals in Orlando. Family helps family." She didn't go to nationals. She quit dancing a month later for soccer. By the time I was 16, the pattern was clear as glass. 3 specific rules governed our household. Rule 1. My sister's activities, dreams, and whims were investments. Mine were hobbies that shouldn't cost the family anything. Rule 2. My achievements were expected and unremarkable. Her participation in anything was extraordinary and deserving of celebration. Rule 3. When money was tight, which was often, my needs evaporated first. Always. I got into 5 universities, full academic scholarships to 3 of them. I chose the one farthest from home, a state school 8 hours away with a full ride plus a research stipend. My mother's reaction? "That's across the country. How are we supposed to visit?" They never did. My sister chose a private college 40 minutes from home. No scholarship. Tuition? $58,000 a year. My parents took out a second mortgage. "It's her dream school," my father explained over the phone during my freshman year. "She needs support right now. You're doing fine on your own." I was eating ramen 3 meals a day and working 20 hours a week at the campus library, on top of my full course load. But sure, fine. Sophomore year, my laptop died. The one I'd bought myself with summer job money when I was 17. I called home, asking if they could help with even $200 toward a replacement. I needed it for my engineering coursework. "Money's really tight right now," my mother said. "Your sister needs a new car. The Honda's transmission is going." 2 weeks later, I saw the Facebook photos. My sister, beaming next to a brand new Volkswagen. Not used, new. The post had 47 likes and comments like, "Best parents ever," and "So lucky." I bought a refurbished laptop on a credit card with 22% interest. Took me 8 months to pay off. That's when something shifted in my chest. Not anger, not yet. More like clarity. The kind you get when you finally see the edges of a cage you've been living in. Junior year, I got an internship at a top aerospace company. Competitive. Paid. The kind of opportunity that could launch an entire career. I called home excited. Actually excited, despite everything. My father answered. I told him about the internship, how only 12 students nationwide got selected, how they specifically wanted me for a propulsion systems project. That's great, honey. Hey, before I forget, your sister's study abroad program to Italy got approved. We're helping her with expenses. Can you chip in maybe $2,000? You're working now. I was making $18 an hour for 12 weeks, before taxes. I don't have $2,000, Dad. Well, figure it out. Family helps family. I didn't send money. For the first time in my life, I just didn't. The phone calls after that had a different tone. Cooler. Shorter. My mother would answer and immediately hand the phone to my sister, making small talk before saying she had to go. Senior year came. I graduated summa cum laude with a job offer already lined up. $95,000 starting salary with a signing bonus. I invited my parents to graduation. They couldn't make it. My sister's graduation party, from her second college after transferring and adding another year, was the same weekend. Hers was planned first, my mother said. You understand. I walked across that stage alone. My roommate's family cheered for me. Her mother hugged me afterward and cried, saying she was proud of me. A stranger was prouder of me than my own parents. I took the job, moved to a new city, rented a small one-bedroom apartment, and bought my first real furniture. Not expensive, but mine, chosen by me. The calls from home fell into a pattern. Month 1. Just checking in. How's the new job? Month 3. Your sister's looking at graduate programs. Any chance you could write her a recommendation? You're in the field. Month 6. We're helping her with grad school applications. Those fees add up. Can you send $500? I started letting calls go to voicemail. Not all of them, just enough that I could prepare myself before engaging. Then my sister's wedding got announced. Engagement to a guy she'd been dating for 11 months. My parents were over the moon. We're thinking of a destination wedding, my mother gushed on the phone. Maybe Hawaii? Your father and I are covering most of it, but we're asking the bridal party to chip in for some expenses. You're a bridesmaid, of course. I wasn't asked to be a bridesmaid. I was told. The expenses totaled $3,800. Dress, shoes, hair, makeup, bachelorette trip to Napa, and a contribution to the honeymoon fund. Everyone's paying, my sister said when I hesitated. Don't be difficult. I paid for the dress and shoes, $340 total. I skipped the bachelorette trip, citing work deadlines. The family text chain lit up. She's too busy for her own sister's bachelorette party. Nice priorities. At the wedding, I was seated at table 12, in the back, next to cousins I hadn't seen in a decade. My parents were at table 1 with my sister's new in-laws. They didn't speak to me during the reception, except for one moment when my father pulled me aside. Your sister's going to need help with the down payment on a house. Her husband's still finishing his degree. We're tapped out from the wedding. You're doing well. Maybe you could contribute $10,000? Not asked, expected. I said, I'll think about it. I never sent the money. The call stopped almost entirely after that. 3 months of near silence, except for a birthday text. Happy birthday. Hope work is good. My sister had a baby. I found out on Instagram. The post was 3 days old by the time I saw it. I sent a gift, a beautiful handmade quilt and a savings bond. The thank you text came 2 weeks later. Got your gift. Thanks. When I called to ask about meeting my new nephew, my mother's voice was nice. We're really overwhelmed right now. Maybe in a few months. My nephew turned 1. Still no invitation to visit. But the Facebook album had 247 photos of family and friends holding him. Aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone but me. I stopped trying. Which brings us back to that text at 11:43 p.m. We need $50,000. Your father's having emergency surgery. Family helps family. I called immediately. My mother answered on the first ring. What's wrong with Dad? He needs cardiac surgery. It's serious. The insurance won't cover all of it. We need $50,000 by Friday, or they'll postpone it. My throat tightened. Whatever our history, this was my father's health. What hospital? What surgeon? Send me the details. Why do you need details? Do you not trust us? I want to understand the situation. Silence. Then, you know what? Forget it. We'll figure it out ourselves, just like we always do. She hung up. I sat there in the dark, phone in my hand, heart pounding. Something felt wrong. The vagueness, the pressure, the Friday deadline with no paperwork, no doctor's names, nothing. I opened my laptop. 30 minutes of searching later, I found my father. Active on LinkedIn. Posted 4 hours ago about a golf tournament fundraiser he was organizing. Posted from his account. His name. His photo on the golf course. Very much not in a hospital bed. My hands started shaking. I called my aunt, my father's sister, who lived near my parents. We weren't close, but she'd always been kind to me. Aunt Beth, is Dad okay? Mom said he needs emergency heart surgery. Long pause. Honey, your father's fine. He's literally in my backyard right now grilling burgers. What are you talking about? The pieces fell together like a puzzle I should have solved years ago. I hired a private investigator. It cost me $1,200, but I needed to know. The report came back in 4 days. 17 pages of financial records, social media archives, and public documents. The truth? My parents had taken out a $50,000 home equity loan. Not for surgery, for my sister's business venture, an online boutique she wanted to start. The loan payments were due, and they'd overextended. My sister's boutique had already failed. She'd spent the money on inventory she couldn't sell and a website that never launched properly. Now they were facing foreclosure if they couldn't make payments. But there was more. Every major family expense over the past decade, my sister's tuition, her wedding, her house down payment, had been funded partially by telling extended family members I'd refused to help. They'd positioned me as the selfish daughter who'd abandoned her family after they paid for my education, my full scholarship education, that I'd earned, that had cost them nothing. They'd collected sympathy money from aunts, uncles, grandparents, all while painting me as the villain. I had emails, screenshots, bank transfers, all of it documented in those 17 pages. I drove home, 8 hours straight through. Arrived at 6:30 a.m. on a Saturday. My parents were in their kitchen. My sister was there too, with her husband and baby. I walked in without knocking, put the investigator's report on the table. You lied about Dad's surgery. My mother's face went white. You hired someone to spy on us? That's insane! Read page 7, the home equity loan for the boutique. Page 9, the bankruptcy threat. Page 12, the family members you told I refused to help pay for my own education. My scholarship education. My father stood up. You had no right. I had every right. You asked me for $50,000 based on a medical emergency that doesn't exist. My sister's voice cut in, sharp and defensive. We're family. You're supposed to help without keeping score. I turned to her slowly. Family helps family, right? That's what you've all been saying my whole life. Well, you got everything, and I got whatever was left over. While Mom and Dad funded your entire adult life and couldn't be bothered to show up to my college graduation. We were there for your graduation, my mother protested. I pulled out my phone, showed them the photo my roommate's mother had taken. Me, alone in my cap and gown. The date stamp is crystal clear. This is me, alone, at my graduation. You were at her party, for her second graduation, from her second college that you paid for entirely, while I worked through school on scholarship. The silence in that kitchen was absolute. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice steadier than I'd ever heard it. I'm not giving you money. Not now, not ever. You want to save your house? Sell my sister's car, the one you bought her. Liquidate the savings account you started with my science fair winnings when I was 12. My father's face flushed red. You're really going to let us lose our home? You're really going to keep pretending I'm the problem here? I left that morning, blocked their numbers, blocked my sister, blocked every family member who'd participated in the Whisper campaign against me. The next week, I received 47 text messages from relatives. Some are angry, some pleading, all of them with the same theme. How could I abandon family in their time of need? I sent one mass response. I never abandoned anyone. I was never included in the first place. Every achievement was dismissed. Every need was inconvenient. Every dollar I earned was something they felt entitled to. I'm not abandoning them. I'm finally accepting what's always been true. I was never their family. I was their backup plan. Then I changed my number. 6 months later, I got a letter, forwarded through my old address, from my Aunt Beth. She wrote, "Your parents sold the house, downsized to a condo. They're fine. Your sister moved back in with them temporarily. I want you to know something. I went through old family photos after you left. You weren't in most of them. Not because you weren't there, but because they literally didn't include you in the frame. Even when you were standing right there. I never noticed before. I'm sorry I never noticed." I cried reading that letter. Not because I wanted them back, but because someone finally saw it, acknowledged it, validated that I wasn't crazy or selfish or cold. Today, I'm 32. I have a career I love, friends who show up, a partner who thinks I'm remarkable. I'm building a family of choice, people who celebrate my wins and support my struggles without keeping a ledger. Sometimes people ask if I regret cutting off my parents. The answer is no. Because here's what I learned. Family helps family isn't a real value when it only flows one direction. It's not love when it comes with conditions and scorecards. And you're not obligated to set yourself on fire to keep warm people who never noticed you were cold. The best thing I ever did was test whether family helps family was actually true. It wasn't. So I found people where it is, and I've never looked back.